Hey up. Are we working? More to the point. I am a little bit. I'm late by like 30 seconds, so give us a break, man. It's warm in here, not gonna lie. So this could be quite fun. So hi everyone. Hope you're good. We're gonna talk about this lunatic for a bit, because it's fun. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know if you've been affected by said tweets, if you've had a good week. It's not been too bad this week, to be fair. It's been alright. But yeah. Yeah, people are mad. I can see that. Even in the comments that have been hidden. I'll show one of them. Go on. Why not? But yeah. We need to talk about... I don't think it was a catalyst, so I'll be honest with you. Realistically, the market was going to come down. If you watched my video yesterday in terms of market analysis, I was doing big impulses. We're going to pull back, and that seemed like it was a bit of a catalyst tweet. And it's so emotional, and like I've never seen anything like this, apart from obviously Donald Trump in the foreign exchange, apart from certain things what was said in the stock market back in last 2 years in the Trump administration moved markets. But this is savage in terms of the crypto space. I've never seen something move so quickly. In terms of like, there was always news catalysts that would move things, certain things that would move the market. But this is like every time he tweets, it moves the market, and it's getting right on my shitty titties now. Really doing my head in. So hi everyone. Let me know where you're from as well. Let me know what you're doing this weekend. Also, YouTube has been a bit pooey at the moment, so make sure you like this video. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe it. Let's get it out there, try and kickstart the algorithm. I think the algorithm has changed a bit. It's not just me that's suffering. I think a lot of other content creators are suffering right now. There's been a few issues with it. So in terms of pulling power, my channel seems to be lacking, what it has been. I think back a couple of months back, I was getting like 20,000 views, and now it's like 3. Like, what's going on? It's crazy. Anyway, shall we talk about Elon Musk a little bit and what he actually said? So it was mainly this tweet 17 hours ago, and it's the engagement, it's a retweet, it's all the quotes, it's everything, and then it's all the fuel, it's all like people then talk about it, then it kind of makes people think silly things. Now, I've often said this, like, I do believe that people have bots that are actually like trading off the news of his tweets, and it kind of does come apparent. But you see all this stuff here, like in terms of how it kind of looks, but it's the way that he kind of, the co-founder of Dogecoin. It's just all these tweets, and he reacts to it. He reacts to a lot of it, and everyone else reacts. And it's a very, very, very sentimental kind of place. The markets are built on emotion, and yeah, it's funny in some ways, but it's also it was at the start, obviously, the pump of the market, but now it's kind of like too much, too much, and it's getting a bit boring for some people. Now, for me, it doesn't really affect me. Obviously, I tweeted this morning, telling him kindly, can you bugger off, basically. Where did I put that tweet? I was playing around with it. I was doing all kinds. Shorted Doge, doing really well with that. It's still melting. But yeah, I put this out, and like, it's true. Like, everyone's thinking the exact same as me. It's like, just stop tweeting about it. It's doing me head in. Everyone in and around Miami at the moment, which is pretty crazy. So yeah, for me, like, looking at it, I don't know what your guys or what you lot think about it, but for me, I don't really care much about the tweets, and I don't really care about his position. I don't care. It's more the fact of the damage that it's causing in terms of the moving of the markets. Now, that may not be anyone's fault other than people who are reacting to it, but there's serious, like, that there seems to be a lot of people in terms of crypto Twitter are not reacting. Even on Reddit and stuff, they're not reacting, but there seems to be some big accounts that are definitely reacting to the news, and that kind of gets me all kind of like, well, why is that happening? Doesn't make any sort of sense why you'd react to someone's tweets who's only been in the game, realistically, publicly, a couple of minutes, let's be honest. So, hey ho. What should we look at anyways? Feel free to chuck some questions at me. I'm just going to do some analysis today, random stuff. Talk about what I think in terms of the market. Obviously, give my opinions on what Musk is doing. For me, I think he's on a massive hustle. a huge hustle with Dogecoin. I think he's trying to accumulate as much Bitcoin as he can. And that's what it feels like in terms of the whole fundamentals of him tweeting, about Dogecoin. Since that first tweet of Dogecoin, it's skyrocketed, hasn't it? Let's be honest here. And we can't get away from that. And if you bought at a certain price, you've made some serious monies. But yeah, feel free to like this video as well. There's only 33 likes. Come on, guys. At least I'm on this time. Because last time it wasn't working. It took 4 attempts to get going. Crazy. But yeah, in terms of the market, right? Let me just explain a few things, because yesterday I did a video on like VeChain, I did it on Polkadot and stuff like that, and everything looks similar to this. So what I'm looking at, we're starting to form a little bit of a trend. As you can see, this higher low, nice. So I was thinking, right, where's the top? And obviously the top was here. So in terms of my analysis on about 4 assets, obviously VeChain, BNB, DOT, Theta, and Cardano, I was thinking, right, it's got to come back down at some point. And when you start looking on the lower time frames, you'll kind of see that everything's kind of done the impulse going up, and then it's had that sharp aggressive, like, hello, we're back in buy zones. And it makes you wonder, was it really these tweets? Probably in some ways it was a catalyst, but the market was going to correct at some point. It was going to pull back. It's that typical sort of impulse retracement, off we go again, my friend. Because we've had it in the past. We've had it all kinds of situations where, if you look at the previous move, same sort of situation. We've had the impulse. It pulled back into the 618, as per usual. And then off we go for a little run. But now we're going to go from this point. Why? Because it's kind of the most important point. Why is it so important? Because it's the start of the next impulse wave. And what's happened this morning, we kind of dumped a little bit. So over the next few days, you may start seeing a lot of assets looking very similar to this on the USD pairs, where they're going to fill in like a hole where, if you zoom out, it's kind of like previous levels of resistance or support, technically in some ways, and then resistance, obviously, yeah, cool. So it kind of marries up quite nicely on a lot of these assets. So was it his tweets? Maybe, I don't know, but it's just one of those things. Some things have just been a bit wild at the moment. It's been like, well, what's happening direction wise? But overall, since since the bottom, essentially, since it turned around, we've had some nice higher lows, which is kind of nice, and now we've formed a higher high. So realistically, the market still looks pretty good, realistically, which is always good. But yeah, I do think a lot of people are soft hands, as Revolution Crypto just said, because when you start thinking reactions and stuff, like a tweet's a tweet. At the end of the day, it's just one of the, well, I'll leave it on there. It's just one of those things. It happens, people get upset for whatever reason. I think BNB was a really good opportunity yesterday, by the way. There we go. Oh, look at that. Ooh, hello. So some of my videos I was talking about, it's saying like there's a perfect buy zone here. This green band was like buy zone. It obviously zipped back into it, pulled all the way up, and as you can see here, we've absolutely zipped right the way back down, but we're actually starting to zip back up again. So I'll try and remove some of the there we go. So it looks a bit easier, but I do think we are going to go back up to where this previous consolidation support was. So, the market still looks absolutely good. It looks absolutely fine, realistically. But, people have, cabbage hands, realistically. Shit. RSR. Ooh, go on then. Right, I want to just clarify something, and this is not financial advice, but it kind of, it has a meaning to it. This is so cheap, it's disgusting, right? I'm looking to buy this, right? Buy more of it in terms of, because I bought this ages ago. And, when you start looking at an asset and it's gone back to an old consolidation zone, it's like, buy me, right? So lower you can go, the better this can be. So obviously right now, if you were thinking, I really like RSR, it's a nice asset. It's got good fundamentals, it's got some good backers, it's got a good team, it's got a good use case, it's got 100,000 downloads, all kinds of good stuff, and you were thinking, well, at 12 cents I wanted to buy this, and you're not looking at this at like 3 cents and going, I should be buying this, I should be selling the kids, I should be selling the cat, I should be buying this. You probably should be. So not financial advice, but I'm just saying this is a really cheap, undervalued asset at the current state. Even if this dumps more, you are not buying this in a risk zone because it's already had its risk factors. Look at it. Nothing's changed. Fundamentals, nothing has changed. Yes, it could go lower like anything, but you are buying at a pretty okay zone, even if you are dollar cost averaging in and building a position. So take what you want with that information, but we have, sorry, the analysis is going to be pretty rubbish on this one because it's consolidating, it's just chilling out. So it seems like, when I look at this as well, you got to talk about Grayscale and all these kind of big assets, big funding management companies, trust funds, etc. They're buying it big. So I think they've already bought $60 million worth of it in the last few weeks or whatever. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong on that one. But anyways, regardless, it's cheap. And, you know, when we start looking at the overall potential here, now, this is kind of went from this low to this high, it's pulled all the way back into like no man's land, literally. And it makes you wonder, this is like in my opinion, an unbelievable opportunity. If you go from this top to this bottom, you know, realistically, the next level for it to go up to in terms of starting its merry way again is up to 5.86 cents. So, still think it's pretty undervalued, realistically. It's pretty savage. So there's nothing much I can really go on other than the fact that, well, this is like dirt cheap. That's it. Dirt cheap. And the more I'm looking at it, the more I'm thinking I should buy some more of this, because I've got a decent chunk, don't get me wrong, but I could think, well, it's another opportunity to get even more here, because I bought at like 1 cent. So I'm like kind of like, I'm in profit, but not massively in profit compared to what it was at like 11, 12 cents, which was lovely. But yeah, it's unbelievable when you think about it. So yeah, for me, looks like an absolute golden opportunity. You know, I'll tidy that up because it looks a bit messy. Looks a bit manky. But I do think between 3 and 4 cents, if you're not buying it, I think there's something wrong. But anyways, hey ho. Right, who questions what? Hi. How much is enough Cardano? It's up to you, really. What? It's not so much how much you've got; it's more the price targets of what you want, realistically, in terms of profit. Realistically, is it best to invest in multiple projects? Always go big in 2 or 3. Always, if you've got low funds, never spread yourself too thin. My methodology, anyways, is always have no more than 6 altcoins. So I always have Bitcoin and 6 alts, because you make more money on focused, isolated altcoins. So if you've got like 2 big caps, 2 medium caps, 2 low caps, for example, or you know, maybe 3 big caps, 1 low cap, etc. It depends on how you want to do it. I often find that the more that you put in at the lows, the more it's going to return, because the multiples get bigger and bigger. It's compounding. And even if you're taking a little bit of profit off that and you're moving it into something else that hasn't quite popped, it's quite good. And also, the word compounding, if you're staking the likes of Polkadot, if you're staking the likes of Zilliqa, for example, as well, even Cardano, other assets that you can stake, you can compound. You can compound on bigger bags. You make more money, realistically. So it's always better than, like, yeah, you always get that opportunity, that one chance that might go. Say if you're holding 21 might pop off like a rocket, like they might do a Matic or something. It doesn't always happen though. You've got to be realistic with yourself. Oh, speaking of Matic, just saw that. Let's have a little look at it. I don't think it's looking too good. I'm more on the bias of shorting right now if I was going to do anything. Yeah. So looking at this, it's literally held up on this EMA 21. I think we're going to go down to 138. Personally, I think it's going to retrace right the way back to the 618 in terms of this grey box. So if you are looking to buy this, I'd wait out definitely, because it's formed a realistically lower high, and it may, not financial advice here, it may actually form a lower low, and it may actually go back to its average price range around here, or maybe even lower. So just keep an eye on it. It's been a massive hype cycle on this. If Bitcoin obviously takes another tumble, maybe it might happen. You may well find that this will go down to like the $1.38 and lower, and it may well go back to this level here. Just be careful with it, because it is looking pretty toppy right now, and it is holding up on support levels. Yes, it might hold for a bit, but we'll see. See how it gans. Would you agree if we're likely to go to 23k? Possibly, yeah, possibly. The reason why I say that, and I'm not really that worried about Bitcoin realistically, I'm looking at it and thinking, well, it looks a bit shitty, but at the same time, I'm like absolutely, you know, over the moon that it's got to this price level. If you asked me a year ago, would it ever go to this point, I'll tell you to bugger off. But realistically, the fundamentals have held up in terms of the hedge against the USD. Quantitative easing's obviously helped. All kinds of inflationary kind of elements with the stimulus has already helped. I've got a little feeling in my head we're going to do the exact same as this. This basically, I'll change the colour of it so you can see it in more detail. If we're looking at this, we could be forming the same sort of pattern. Very, very similar. So we've already got here, we've had a double bottom and pretty much a double top. We're kind of stuck in a crappy, horrible range right now. We're in a consolidation range. But if we lose support, we're going to hit 30k. Simple as that. There's no other way of putting it. We're probably going to retest that 30k level. And it's one of those things. When we look at history, that could happen. When we look at the wicks, it's already happened, but we haven't quite settled on there. We'll see. The volume at the minute in Bitcoin isn't great. It is not great at all at the moment, and that could be a problem. So just be careful with it. And obviously, with Elon Musk is tweeting, it's going to be a catalyst for those cabbage ants to come out and full flow. You know, it's just one of those things. But at the minute, we are recovering a little bit. We are pulling back up. There does seem to be buyers in the market, which is always good. But there is obviously that conference in Miami. So see how it goes. Tell us straight, will Bitcoin fly up to 42 or dip? To be honest with you, we're in no man's land. I said this yesterday. We could do either. Literally, any bit of news is news that could catapult this, because I feel not so much Elon Musk, but I feel bullish news as well. It's I've never seen this market so emotionally driven before. Like, certain things will just pump it instantly and certain things will just dump it instantly. It feels like there's a lot of new people in the space that don't quite understand the gravity of what they're saying, what they're doing, and how they're kind of doing things overall, because it is an unregulated market. It is a 24/7, 7 days a week market as well. So people are not quite mature with their wordings, in my opinion. But for me, we are literally at a toying cost kind of level. For me, anyways. Like, we're kind of in a consolidation band. We could easily go up on a bit of news catalyst and retest these levels of resistance. So if I do a little bit of analysis in terms of where we could go, like if you're looking at where that grey box is, that's some huge confluence with the 382. So if we're looking overall at this, that is where this one is, 41k. That's like one level that, for me, if we capture that level, I will be way more bullish. I'll be like, but right now I'm kind of sitting on the fence at the minute, because when you think where we could go, we can actually retest this bottom again, this 30k kind of level. So we've got to be mindful of both. And for me, if you are trading, if you're looking to trade altcoins, not Bitcoin, because Bitcoin's kind of on the fence, whereas altcoins is a bit more clear direction. One, you've got a load of higher lows, for example, in terms of the daily, they're looking quite good. But short term, you've had great bearish momentum, so you could get anything. Thank you for the, super chat. Discuss, oh, hello. The dollar index. So, if anyone doesn't know what this is the dollar index. I've just said it, right? So this is the strength of the US dollar currency, right? So for me, if I zoom out on this, let me go to the weekly time frame. You can probably see it better. It's been a while since I looked at this bad boy. Anyways, so we've had this monster toppy level at March 2020, the COVID kind of level. Now, what's kind of happened here? Now, let me just remove this nonsense here, and I'll remove some of the junk. I think we are going to go down here and basically retest, basically 88 kind of level. So this kind of level here is kind of where I'm thinking. Now, why? Because it's kind of like an obvious bottom. But when you start actually considering what could happen here, so for me, this is kind of like, wow, realistically, no, we'll go from this point. Now, this point's kind of important as well, because this is kind of what I did last time. When we started looking at this overall, we've had this kind of level. We've went back up in and retested a little bit, but we didn't even go that high. But when you start looking at the confluence between that level, it's on that, that extension level for me. But we could actually go much lower. If you zoom out on that and you're thinking, well, it hardly even got momentum pushing back up, which is kind of scary. So if you look at even 84, it goes along where these resistance levels are. So for me, I think obviously the more the stimulus that's coming out, the more interesting it's going to get. But if you do an overall structure level from this level, from the low to the high, you've got 88 obviously in terms of the bottom, but you've also got 84, 82 and 79. So we could actually go back down to 2014 levels. That could be horrible. So not let me just rephrase that. It'll be good for crypto, because obviously the dollar index is dying. Probably crypto and the stock market will probably keep going up realistically, even though it's been a 10-year bull market in the stock market sort of sector, because these are a lot of zombie currencies, zombie stocks that are held up on bonds and shit basically. So yeah, looking at that, I think it's very obvious we're going to go down to 88. We're going to go back to this bottom. So it's already looking pretty rough. But if you start looking at the extensions that are beneath that, they have huge confluence with previous past levels from like 2013, 2014, 2015. So you've got to keep your eye on it. And the reason why I say that is because Stimulus bills, more trillions going to get printed. You can see it's already in motion. That will obviously make things obviously pretty ugly. But also you got to think to yourself, well, how much money is going to go from, you know, the dollar out of people's banks into crypto with stimulus checks? Probably quite a bit. How many people are going to diversify into a good performing asset such as Bitcoin, such as Ethereum, such as any other cryptocurrencies out there that people may want to earn money off as well as a hedge? Polkadot, for example, could be a one. Cardano could be one, because you get like, you know, 8 to 10% staking. There's so many ways as well that you can make money against the US dollar. And this brings me on to obviously BlockFi. Now, people don't know this, but I'm obviously in partnership with BlockFi. You can, you know, what would you get in a bank? Nothing. Realistically, you're going to get nothing. So even if you've got a little bit of cryptocurrency and you want to put like a percentage away, put it in this, get percentage each time. Why not? Get paid every day, because no one's going to make money sitting in the bank, realistically, watching the US dollar shrink as your money gets worse. And it is going to just keep shrinking. That's the only downside. The downside of holding USD in crypto, you've got to make it work, because if this keeps falling, that offset has to happen. You've got to have that staking ability. So for me, the staking is huge. Anyways, I have missed a few questions. I do apologize. How's Reef looking? Probably pretty poo. I have never seen, right now, obviously people know I was an investor. I jumped out of it because I wasn't too keen on what was happening with the team. I wasn't very happy with the management of the team in terms of like how they kind of kept shilling my shite, basically. And, oh my God, has this even moved? New. So these have had a these have had a mainnet, would you believe, and it's just not moved. I've never seen an asset that hasn't moved like this ever. Like, it went up a little bit, it's come back down, it went up, it went down. It seems to be in the biggest range ever. Now, yes, they're going on the substrate technology. They're going to try and get on a parachain. But realistically, I would have expected a company like this, with the use case of what they've got, would have had a pump. A mainnet. It's a huge thing. So just be careful with, you know, buy low, sell high, because if you were buying this on the hype of a mainnet, you probably would be majorly out of pocket. And, you know, we're not talking about the freak accident that what happened here in terms of the market dumping. I'm talking about from February, where we've had monster runs in majority of altcoins making loads of money. This has done nothing. It's a bit baffling. It's a bit of a head scratcher, isn't it? Realistically, in my eyes anyways. What else are we looking? How's... Ooh, Injection Protocol. One of my coin picks of the year. Doing very well since I mentioned this one. So I did this in like the end of December in terms of 2021, sorry. One of the coins that I think is going to do well. One I didn't actually invest in. I wish I did. It's obviously done very, very, very well over the course of the year. But again, you know, it's kind of one of those things. It happens, you know. Good, solid interface, good, solid protocol, good, solid use case, all kinds of good stuff. It's done very, very well. So this is looking pretty good. Realistically, though, if you're looking to buy this, it's obviously, for me, if I was to look at this naked and you're thinking to yourself, well, that is like the main level of where the price has been, you're actually below it. So in terms of average price in the recent history, around $11, $12, $13, we're currently $9. So if you are thinking about buying or filling your bag, you may well be looking for it to go lower if it does continue going on. We are below the moving average at the end of the day. It could go lower. But realistically, if you're looking for that average medium kind of like, oh, I want to buy, cool, because you always know that there's people that would have been buying up here. It always happens, you know. Feel free to like this video, by the way. Please do, because I do need YouTube to find me again, because things are going crazy. Other questions? Thank you for subscribing, by the way. Caps. I've never really looked at caps. I know Andy's big on caps. I don't think I'll be able to... Yeah, probably won't be able to analyse that because I don't think it's on many exchanges. If you're looking at historic movements, potentially bearish, yeah. It depends on the market sentiment, though. The market sentiment still got a lot of buyers in there. I think there's still a lot of people like looking to buy at support, which is always really, really good. Swissborg's awesome. Personally, I've got more money in Swissborg than I do with BlockFi. With BlockFi, I put my Tether in there and I get paid in Bitcoin, whereas with USDC, I just compound that up. So I'm looking to grow Satoshis while Satoshis are kind of low at the minute. So you get more bang for your buck with Satoshis. When Ethereum though drops in terms of dominance, I will then swap it to Ethereum. All kinds of stuff like that. Makes more sense. That's how I do it anyways. Link price on the bear market, $4 probably. Simple. The reason why I say that, and I'm very, very convinced that's going to happen, because I already know that, you know, I've already done the analysis on it. If you look at Chainlink, right, I think this is mega undervalued, by the way. I just think that if this is a bear market, and I'm not saying it is, by the way, there's a very, very simple analysis that makes you look at this thinking, oh my God. Because if you start looking at this, if you're doing this, and this is one big lower low appearing, you know, the one of the main extensions is actually $4.50. So if you're thinking really bearish and you've got your proper bear hat on, you're probably going to end up in like 2020 levels around here. Ooh. I'm not saying it's a bear market. I'm just saying that could happen. It probably will happen if it's a bear market. Just saying. There's a lot of questions. That's good. Good to see loads of people. Awesome. My YouTube does work. Although I used to get 1,000 people, I've only got 180, which kind of sucks balls. Oopsie. Thoughts on Unfederal Reserve and TEL, really, really good. I quite like TEL actually. I've never bought it though, but I've heard good things. It seems all right. It's a one very, very top performing asset right now, as you can see. I understand what it's to do, but that is, you know, when people say to me, right, and I'm not meaning to dig anyone out here, when people say that the altcoins haven't gone parabolic yet, well, some things have gone absolute turbo. Now, I remember this from 2017, 2018. That's why I know about it. It had a very, very good solid use case back then, and it's finally materialized into some price action, as you can see. So it's good. That's pretty nice. Nice to see. I've just done a bit of analysis on Matic. I think it's going to go down. Sorry. What do I think of Oasis Network? Pretty decent. Rose, it's nice, it's easy, it's simple to look at as well. It actually does have a decent solid use case in all fairness, but again, it's one of these ones that haven't quite materialized into price action yet. Yes, it's had a little bit of a pump over the last year, but it has dropped massively. So it makes you wonder, well, what phase of the market are we in? Are we in kind of no man's land still? I think for Bitcoin we are, and a lot of altcoins, unless they've got really strong fundamentals, are kind of not doing anything. But realistically, we've got to bottom out, and what I've said before, a lot of coins have found this kind of level where it's starting to form, you know, a level of it, you know, when we start looking at the RSI, it's got a better, like, oh, it's very, very tight. It's just, you know, a bullish divergence. Is it? Probably not, actually. No, it's not. Ignore that one. But yeah, things are starting to reverse, but at the end of the day, it's still bearish, because realistically, when you're looking at this, it has to find a bottom, it has to confirm the bottom, it then has to form the bullish trend and get above the moving averages. So some coins have gone above the moving average, some of them have not, and you can see here this is like the level of resistance realistically. It's all what you can look at realistically. Once it gets above that line, you may be okay, but if you're looking to buy this, by the way, you know, if you're thinking long term, there you go, boom. Keep it nice and simple. Ooh, Ethereum BTC usually goes down in June. That's an interesting observation. Does it? Are you lying to me? It's a bit flat last year. I don't know. It's one of those ones where, for me, like I talked about this on my Twitter. I was like, right, it's going to turn around at some point. It's gonna. And it has, in all fairness, it's, even in this bounce, it's been pretty strong. So when we start looking at this, let's have a little look. Boom. On the 618, it's currently holding a support right now. So we'll see what happens. But for me, I would feel more comfortable if it actually published a little bit of a high up here, but it hasn't. Not yet. But when you start looking at it, you know, it has got those higher lows. It's looking pretty healthy realistically versus what other ones have done. But Ethereum's a strong asset realistically. It's actually fighting back right now today. When we start looking at the last 1 hour, let's have a little look at that. Yeah. So realistically, yeah, there's been this Elon Musk fella has been tweeting, whoops, but we're actually coming back up again. So yeah, for me, Ethereum's strong. It is very, very strong. A lot of hype around Ethereum as well. Can you check out, I don't even know what that is. What is it? I'll do some analysis on it though. Nimic, is it Nimic? Looking like a decent buy. If you know there's good news and you know it's going to pump, it's probably a good buying opportunity versus where it has been realistically, if you're looking at this, like anything, right? You know, this is a psychological part of like market investing, anything, whether it's a good thing, whether it's a coin, whether it's a stock, whether it's whatever. If you're looking at an asset, right, and from top to bottom, it's done a 73% drop, you know, and you're not taking an opportunity to, even if you've like bought really high, like up here, and you're not dollar cost averaging because you're like, oh, I'm too scared, you kind of don't need to be scared because you're going to get a much better price and it will bring your average buy order down because then it makes life much easier. But that is like a mega bear trend at the moment. If you look at this will probably hit an extension. I think it will. Oh, yes, look at that. Lovely. So we've had this dump, pulled up, just failed the 618, and then now it's resting on this minus 0.27, which has huge confluence with this previous level of, right, obviously support and a previous level of resistance just, what, January, December time. Looking pretty strong. But realistically, you got to think, well, what is it? You know, for me, I don't have a clue what this asset is. I'm just looking at what the candles tell me. If the fundamentals are good and they're strong, you should be buying, like anything. Like if you're thinking, right, this is a monster support level, previous level of resistance, previous level of support, and I'm not buying this because I'm a bit of a wimp because it's dumped like 74%, you know, realistically, investing isn't for you. That's why, like, I'm looking at RSR. That's why I looked at Polkadot White. That's why I looked at all these coins, because they're just dumped. It's like a second opportunity for a lot of people. You know, looking at the likes of BNB, for example, it went down to $200. That's scary. You know, it's absolutely crazy news. It's brilliant news. But for some people, it's like a gift. You know, some people don't think twice about buying, which is great. On Federal Reserve, let's have a look at it. Again, I think that this is an absolute monster of an asset in terms of, for me anyways, I'm an investor, I'm obviously a bit more biased, potentially. But I look at this and I go to myself, well, oh, is that already added? Whoops. I look at this and I think, well, oh, where's my bloody coin gone? Oh, there it is. No, it's not. Oh, for fuck's sake, man. Stop being a dick. There we go. So, obviously it's been much higher. This is obviously Qcoin. For me, fundamentals are strong. Use case is strong. It's pretty good, in my opinion anyways. I like it a lot. I do think this is going to go up much higher in terms of when they get, like, obviously when they get more liquidity, when they get treasury funds and stuff. It has had a monster drop. But for me, it was, you know, the hype was ridiculous, and it wasn't. Everyone got caught up in it. It's quite good. But for me, I'm not really that worried. I'm looking at the long term of it. You know, if you're thinking centralized finance and DeFi mixed in together into one platform, and they have to pay for it to use it and all kinds of good stuff, you know, there's a lot of money on the table. When you think it's under 100 million market cap versus like of Aave, versus like of Compound, even MakerDAO and stuff like that, like huge, big, massive infrastructures on Ethereum, you got to think it's undervalued, and it most likely is, for me anyways. Why is Doge pumping? It kind of isn't. I shorted Doge. Still looking alright. This was always going to pull back though in terms of pull up, because this is on a perfect level. If you look at this level here, right, it literally hits like just below the 618 levels at 34 cents, and it's zipped back up again. So it's starting to look a bit more healthier. But you got to think as well, the whole market's trying to recover a little bit. Realistically, when you think what Bitcoin's done from this morning, it's pulled up a good couple of percentages. You know, realistically, it's like Bitcoin was 35,500 before, now it's 37,000. So the entire market is trying to recover, which is probably quite good. But the Asian session, and it's a weekend, so it may be a bit ropey tonight. We'll see what happens. Luna's whoever just said that, Luna is a bargain. Yes, I mean, look at that. Oh man, I actually tweeted about this because I had no idea what was happening with this. Like, I've always rated Luna in terms of, like, I recommended this on Learning Crypto at 34 cents or 35 cents, whatever it was. It popped off like a rocket and I just didn't get it. And this has been monstrous as a rise. And if you look at it, it's been monstrous already in terms of the Satoshi values. But when you look at USD, it's like bloody hell. So for me, massive, for me anyways, buy zone. Huge buy zone, right? When you think away this consolidation band is around $6 to $5, give or take. Well, actually, yeah, between $5 and $7, right? That for me looks like an absolute solid buy. If you were thinking about buying Luna here, like KSI was, and he was screaming about it, saying it's the best thing since sliced bread, and you're not buying at $6, well, you should be. That's a one way of getting up on people. It's fun. Oh, back's aching today. Almost 100 likes. Come on, let's get me there. Get my YouTube back on the top lines again, because it's broken. I don't really like Centivate. Is it Centivate or whatever it's called? I'm not really a big fan of it. I'm not going to lie. I just don't understand the use case of it. It reminds me of Substratum. And I don't know much about it other than the fact that it looks very, very similar to it. For me, I had a huge... Well, that's had a huge drop. It's a crazy one, this one. When you think about it, it's like it pumped last year, it dumped, and it pumped again, and it's dumped. See if it goes again. But when you start looking at it, though, overall, if we go to the weekly time frame, it might make more sense. There you go. You've had this monster lower high kind of situation here. So let's see where this actually pulled back up to. Above the 618, or just about, rejected it. This could, wow, this could go even lower. In my opinion, it could go back where these wicks have been easily. If the market turns a little bit more bearish over the weekend, you expect this to probably drop. That's on the BTC pair. If we're looking at USD, is there a USD? Nope. Meh, whatever. So yeah, not really the biggest fan of this one, I won't lie. It's not the greatest. I just never really liked it. It's not looking very healthy though in terms of market capitalization, and obviously the obvious in terms of what the chart is looking like. The MACD on the weekly is looking pretty horrendous. What else have we got? KSI crypto almost died, probably. I'm not looking at Shiba. Any views of Trias? Not really a fan of it. It's just a rebrand, whatever. This doesn't really fill me with any kind of hopium at all. It needs to do a lot more than what it's done. I've already had a look at Injection, or Injective even. It's actually looking pretty good. I find this looking alright. It's at resistance levels, but overall when you look at it, you know, this is a really good buying opportunity for me anyways. This was $25. This is a thing, like, I don't know about you guys or if anyone else is conflicted in terms of, is this the end of the bull market? You know, I don't think it is, but when you start looking at all the kind of situations of like how these kind of altcoins have kind of blew off a little bit of a top, it makes you wonder, are the altcoins going to recover as quickly? I don't think they are. I'm kind of expecting Bitcoin to go on a bit of a run soon at some point. I'm expecting this dominance chart to go up a bit. Now, what I'm actually thinking is potential run up to 52 or 60% on dominance. Ooh. If that happens, cool, and then it comes back down and goes even lower, that'd be brilliant, thank you. But we'll see. So, for me, what could happen, this is kind of like the long shot, by the way. You know, we'll see. If this happens, imagine if that happens on the dominance chart. So if we went up to 60%, say Bitcoin goes on an absolute monster run, right? Boom. And then guess what? Turns around. Altcoins go berserk. That could be fun. And that could be the one. That could be the last shout. We'll see. God, there's loads of questions. That's good though. Good to see the engagement. I believe Luna dropped was because of the stablecoin. I think it went to like 91 cents or 93 cents, so it kind of shook a few people out and people shot themselves, basically. So, you know, for me, fundamentals of it haven't changed. Like, nothing's gone wrong. It's just volatility. You know, you got to think, for a lot of assets like that who have like hedging and got assets within stable currencies for their platform, they've never experienced as much volatility ever on a live market. So sometimes they don't work very well. So that, yeah, caused people to kind of go a bit crazy. Akasha Network is very decent. I will do a little look at that actually. I need to add it onto my watch list actually. I do like the look of this one, to be fair. I do like, is that, I think that's all I can realistically look at. We haven't got much data though. That's all we got data wise. Poo. Seems cheap though. I do like it. It was like $5 a few weeks ago, but I've not really got much detail in terms of chart data, I'm afraid. I'm not going to go anywhere else. I can't really be bothered, to be fair. Kylie Network. Ooh, that's a good shout. How's it looking? This is just a wrapped. This is a wrapped Ethereum version. Obviously, this is going to be really weird in terms of pricing because of the Ethereum, you know, network. If Ethereum's pumping, these are obviously going to go low because of the dominance chart of it going up. But if you like it and you're dollar cost averaging it, you know, for me, if you're buying with Ethereum, you're going to get a really good opportunity to buy quite low. So again, same situation. If you remember what I say about the dominance chart, same with the Ethereum dominance is up high. So when Ethereum dominance was like down in these levels, so obviously December time and March and April, it was good to buy stuff in Ethereum. Now it's not so good. But when you start looking at it, not so much buying it, cashing out into Ethereum, that's what I mean. So when you want to cash out into Ethereum, you want it to be nice and low. When you're buying into it, you want it to be high. So if you have got Ethereum and you're looking to buy coins and assets, you get the lowest possible opportunity because it will obviously pump it. How you grow more Ethereum? Very, very simple. Thoughts on BNB? Oh yeah, 100%. It's gonna hit a K. At one point in the future, it's gonna hit $1,000. Realistically, it looks pretty healthy overall in terms of the market structure. Like when we think about masses and hype and people, this is like basically growing off people. So it's always going to do well. Realistically, if the market keeps growing and there's no other competition, guess what? It's going to keep going up. Guess what? If Ethereum struggles with layer 2, they're just going to use BSC again. If there's another meme coin central, situation, it's just going to keep going up. So you just got to, for me, if let's just say we get a mega bear market like the last one, right? And it was brutal. Honestly, just buy Binance Coin. Just buy it. Just buy that as one of your core holds. If you're holding the likes of Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB, and Polkadot, for example, right? And all four of them, you can stake them, or you can put them onto BlockFi, you put them onto Swissborg, whatever, right? Just earn passive income off those four. You'll probably be all right, realistically, even if you're just natively doing it on the Polkadot ecosystem. Because I think, like, when you think Bitcoin, when you think Ethereum, when you think Polkadot, when you think BNB, even Cardano in that mix as well, and other assets, strong core assets, they will all go up due to one thing and one thing only: people. And when all the people vanish, because some people will be hardcore crypto people who will not get shaken out over anything, and there'll be people in here who are brand new, who are absolutely shitting themselves right now because the market's going down, they want to learn. If you get over that phase of learning, you'll be fine. And when you're here for what makes money in a market is not through, being lucky. It's through time. It takes time to get there. No one gets rich overnight. But if you've been in the market since 2017, 2016, 2015, whatever, and you've lived through them before, you'd probably be all right. If you've just joined right now and you're probably shitting yourself because everything that you've done's gone down, well, you've got to learn. You've got to learn, and you've got to suck it up, and you've got to take the losses, and you've got to literally learn how to buy low and then wait for it to turn around and look at good, solid investments, and eventually over time it will even out. I've been in situations where I've been down loads. It's just one of those things that happens. It's crazy. Cardano is a core hold, I'm not too sure. For me, they need to do more, for me anyways. That's my personal opinion on it. I think once they get the smart contracts out, I'll probably be a bit more comfortable with it. I think once they then get the scaling out, I'll be more comfortable. But we got to think, right, when Cardano was first released back in 2017, I bought it, I sold it, and it took, because there was no real utility, it kind of just went, there still technically isn't much of a utility versus what others are out there. So let's just say tomorrow the market ends, and the hype dies off, and they are releasing their smart contracts, they're releasing their scaling situation and all kinds of governance stuff in the future, and they not got that. They're going to miss it. They're going to miss that kind of situation, and the next bull cycle come, then they'll obviously recover. So for me, utility allows less losses, realistically. When you think BNB over the last, bull market, for example, it had a strong utility versus everything else. It didn't actually die as much as all the other coins because it had people still using the exchanges, whereas the likes of Ethereum struggled, because it had no real, got to think Ethereum had no cap on its maximum supply. It was getting used, but realistically it was still falling in price because people were, abandoning Ethereum and going to make their own chain, the likes of VeChain, the likes of Zilliqa, even Cardano, for example. There's loads of them out there that jump ship. So they lost a lot of token flow. It's just one of those things, it happened. But strong utility with staking, strong utility with governance, strong utility with obviously demand and token flow. It's always going to make a difference on price and holding the price a bit more, which is why staking models are pretty damn good. Speaking of that, Zilliqa, someone just mentioned it. Hi. So as most people know, this is probably one of my favorite assets, what we're looking at. So I'll remove that. So this is we went from this low, okay, to this high. We pulled all the way back to 618, sweet spot. Put this on Learning Crypto platform, hit 15 cents on the nose, happy days. But we are kind of pulling back down. So if we're going to adapt this now, we're going to be looking at this. Realistically, we're kind of at a point where if it pulls back enough, maybe 11 cents, maybe now actually, to be fair, it's already tapped it and went somewhere. We may well shoot above. We need to get above this resistance level. So previous level resistance and obviously support from the past, get above 15 cents, ticket your boo. That would be quite good. So Zilliqa looks pretty healthy overall. I really like Zilliqa. I think it's just underrated. I think once the Ethereum bridge is out and once we've got all the NFTs out and once we've got all the projects going on it, it's going to be pretty good because it's got everything ready to go. It just needs to, meat on the bones now, essentially. So it should be pretty cool. Do I just hold or sell or move? I never, right, so with me, in terms of like if the market goes bearish, I always like to have like core assets, and I like to look at the dominance chart. So if the dominance chart starts going up, I will start shitting myself in terms of what I'm holding, and I'll start putting it to Bitcoin as a whole, and then I'll look to rebuy back in the future. Or if Bitcoin goes really high or my altcoins go really high in USD, I'll look to have stable currency and earn a yield off them. So like what I mentioned before, likes a BlockFi as a great example, likes a Swissborg. There's all kinds out there, depends on your jurisdiction. But realistically, if I'm sitting on stable currency, I want to make money. If I'm sitting on Bitcoin, I'm holding Bitcoin for the opportunity to buy the likes of, anything. Like if say in the bear market, right, or even not so much in the bear market, even now, if Bitcoin goes up like a rocket, and I mean an absolute rocket, right, if it goes with a 70, 80, 100k, right, and the altcoins do not follow it, these are going to melt. And if you've got Bitcoin to then buy back into these altcoins and then to grow Bitcoin, that's the game that you should be playing, because there's so many different variations of doing it. It's unbelievable. So you've got stable currency, buy when the USD is low. If you've got Bitcoin because you saw that the Bitcoin dominance chart is going to go up, sit on your Bitcoin, get the value appreciation, then put your Bitcoin back into these coins. Because if this does happen, and let's just say like it goes down by 60% in terms of Satoshi levels, cool, go for it. Because if you are buying back up, you can get back so much more Bitcoin and just keep rinse repeat. And that's how you do it. That's how I grow my Bitcoin over a period of years. It just makes more sense. It gets very easy once you understand what you're doing, in my opinion anyway. The more you do it, the more easier it is. So I'm looking at this Bitcoin dominance chart like a hawk, thinking, right, what's going to happen? If this does continue going down, happy days, I'll just get more Bitcoin early. If it doesn't and Bitcoin goes up like a rocket, more percentage of my portfolio will go into Bitcoin to sit on it, and then I'll leave the rest of the altcoins as a basic kind of foundation, and then I'll put the money back in and go from there. All will be good. Thoughts on Dent? Pretty rubbish. Sorry. I dreamt that Zer was trading at $7. Oh God, if that happened, I'll be on the moon, I think. I will not be here any longer. I will be on another planet. Harmony 1. In terms of analysis, I've not looked at this for a long time, actually. I'll look at the Tether side of it. Wow. Talk about growth. This is a thing. A lot of altcoins look really sketchy at the minute on like any time frame. Like they're looking like they're so undecided of what they're going to do. The good thing about this, it's just about formed a higher low. Let's have a little look at where this could have went. It hasn't, obviously. Yeah, this has kind of hit the 618 and it's kind of not gone to its destination yet. I think it is going to hit 13 cents at some point. It's got to have to retest and get up above this level, realistically. But again, like most altcoins, above the moving average 21. Looking a bit rough, looking a bit consolidate-ish. Stuck by resistance from the past. It's just one of those things like, this one, yeah, 22 cents roughly down to about 10. Everything's looking really healthy, but we've got to be so careful in terms, this is not the, this could not, really, I don't know. Is it the end of the dump? I don't know. It's hard to kind of predict this. But yeah, all is good. Fundamentals wise, the market hasn't changed. What's happened is, and I've said it before at the start of this stream, is new people in the market, lettuce hands. I think that's more than anything. That's what seems to be the apparent thing. Whoa. Levels of structure held though. These are from ages ago, by the way, on EOS. Not really a big fan of EOS, I'm not gonna lie. I just don't see I just don't see the attraction. Let's retest the EMA, come back down. This is again consolidating. It looks like crap. Some coins or some altcoins look brilliant. Some just look like this. So there's not really much to report, I'm afraid. But yeah, I don't really know what else to say now. Nothing really going on. As I say, always look to make some sort of money if you can, if you are buying, if you're trading, even if you're holding and you've got some nice solid staking assets. Like so many staking assets out there that make life easier though. Like I stake Zilliqa, I stake Polkadot, for examples. You know, I put my Unfederal Reserve in the lending platform, which hasn't been great, but realistically it's still earning me something just in case it goes up to the moon, which I am quite confident it's going to do that at some point in the future. But yeah, there's loads out there. I can pick out bloody 25 at the minute. Your top 5 altcoins below 5 billion. Oh god, there's loads. If we're talking about, let's have a little look. Ooh. So if we're talking under 5 billion, we're below what, 30 maybe? If it'll load. Come on, you piece of shit. Come on. There we go. So yeah, basically under 27. So if you're thinking 5 altcoins that look quite good under this, you'd probably pick Kusama, in my opinion. Be pretty good. Probably Luna as well. Avalanche is decent. You've obviously got Compound as a DeFi platform. You've got Zilliqa. Ooh, there's loads. There's loads out here like that look quite attractive realistically. The likes of Utrus as well. The likes of obviously, you know, Swissbog's a good one. Could be good with people. There's loads. That's a problem. This market is, in my opinion, full of opportunity. And it's scary that people are getting so scared of it so quickly. Reserve Rice definitely 110% looks like an absolute, you know, home run for me. There's loads out there. Some are just, yeah, some of them are shit coins. Obviously, what is Sun, for example? What is this? Really? I don't even know what this is. Decentralized platform on Tron. Probably should have guessed that with the name. Let's have a little look at Monero. Not really a fan of Monero either. Don't really see the attraction, but I can imagine this will probably do alright long term, as you can probably allude to the fact that it is a privacy coin. But the alarming obvious thing with this is, oh dear, there we go. I've done that the wrong way around. Clicked on it the wrong way. There we go. Ooh. This looks interesting though when you look at this, right? So the star structure of this is really weird. It has actually formed a nice trend. So just be careful with this essentially, because it is going to probably rumble up. But you got to look at where this level is as well. So this will probably be a level of support now, realistically. So that's a level of support to look at. That could easily rumble back up to like $370. So just keep an eye on it, but don't expect it to just go to the moon. So you may well be looking at that as resistance levels for me. If I'm looking at that from a very, very simple point of view of analysis, you got previous level of resistance, a number of levels of little support taps and stuff like that. So that will be of interest. Do you think Ethereum 2.0 will kill Matic? I don't know. I don't know, because I'm not really... This is the thing, right? I've said this before on previous lives. I said, like, layer 2s and all kinds of stuff in terms of how it's going to work. I just don't see, like, how, if or why they're going to survive if Ethereum 2 is potentially going to kill it. And realistically it can, and you're not wrong in asking that question, because when you think about one use case that these layer 2s have got, whether it's on MySGO, whether it's all kinds of other networks out there that have designed for layer 2, they're going to work obviously with the likes of Ethereum, and other things will take the stress off Ethereum, like the Polkadot, like the Zilliqa with the bridge and all kinds of other stuff out there. But when you think, well, when Zilliqa, oh, not so much when Zilliqa, sorry, when Ethereum has got their Ethereum 2.0 fully running and operation on, it's actually fine. there's a kind of a bit of a gap in the market there, which kind of makes me wonder, well, what they're going to do. So I don't know. I genuinely don't know. But the thing is, with Ethereum, we can always bank on the fact that they're going to be late, because they're always late. I mean, they've been doing this upgrade since 2014, I think. It feels like it. It's unbelievable. Anyways, I'm going to leave now. So I do appreciate people coming out. If you are new to this channel, make sure you have subscribed. It'd be good to get over some boundaries. It'll be nice to kind of see what's happening overall with my channel, because it has been kind of suffocated at the moment. I think a lot of cryptocurrency YouTube content creators have had that same sort of problem, not getting the kind of the fully flow of market distribution on the platform. So if you are new, say hello if you can on the comments. Also, like the video. It does help get further distribution for future stuff. But yeah, every Friday I'll be going live, so I can do a waffle about whatever's happened. But yeah, life's looking good, really. In terms of me, for my opinion, the market seems quite healthy, realistically. There's a few little things that I'm a bit worried about. The fact of the top blowing off a few altcoins are looking a bit ropey in terms of it at the end. I don't know. So just keep an eye on it. But always have some sort of currency available for dips. Yeah, it makes life much easier. You got something to actually buy up with. And if you were looking to buy something, like say $20 and it's now $4, you know, realistically, dollar cost average, or just wait and chill out and see what happens.